when I said Whoopi Goldberg was the help, let me tell you what I meant by that. To my little sisters saying, you just gotta do it. Let me school you. If they're not paying you, baby, that's called slavery. When you called me with the morning show on the phone, I said to you, Steve, my family is suffering behind this, and y'all know I did nothing wrong.
When you phoned me during the morning show, Steve, I conveyed to you that it appears Monique has finally been vindicated nearly 15 years after she publicly accused Oprah Winfrey of blacklisting her. Nevertheless, it's crucial to remember that Monique didn't merely expose Oprah. She also called out all the industry figures who aligned with Oprah and betrayed her, including Whoopi Goldberg and Steve Harvey. Following Taraji P. Henson's recent revelation about contemplating walking away from the new Oprah-produced adaptation of The Color Purple over financial disagreements, fans took to social media asserting that Monique deserves an apology. In 2009, Monique expressed similar sentiments to what Taraji is now articulating, yet at that time, she was unfairly labeled as embittered. Even Monique's industry peers publicly criticized her for daring to reject Oprah. Among her most vocal critics were Whoopi Goldberg and Steve Harvey, who contributed to the malicious narrative portraying Monique as difficult. Undeterred, Monique refused to be silenced and exposed Whoopi and Steve for being Oprah's lackeys, prioritizing their selfish interests while publicly espousing their love for the community. So, what precisely did Monique disclose about Whoopi and Steve? Does Taraji's recent situation validate Monique's claims from years ago? Let's delve into it.
But none of y'all in real time, was strong enough to go publicly and say, we can't throw our sister under the bus.
If you missed it, Oprah Winfrey is facing severe backlash after Taraji P. Henson disclosed that she almost walked away from The Color Purple due to salary negotiations. The new movie, co-produced by Oprah, Steven Spielberg, Scott Sanders, and Quincy Jones, places Oprah in a position of influence, even if she isn't directly handling the actor's compensation. However, the salary dispute isn't the core issue here. This controversy wouldn't have escalated if it were Oprah's first encounter with such criticism. Almost 15 years prior, Monique publicly accused Oprah of attempting to underpay her and claimed that Oprah and Tyler Perry orchestrated her blacklisting in the industry. The saga began after the release of the 2009 film Precious, produced by Oprah and Tyler Perry, directed by Lee Daniels. Monique received widespread acclaim for her outstanding performance, winning the Oscar for Best Supporting Act. Following this success, Oprah and Tyler requested her to embark on an overseas press tour to promote the film, but they refused to compensate her for it. Monique declined, opting to spend time with her family after investing substantial effort into. According to Monique, as soon as she turned down Oprah and Tyler Perry, headlines portraying her as difficult surfaced. After Precious, numerous roles that came her way inexplicably disappeared, and Hollywood appeared to have shut its doors on her. Monique later revealed in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter that Lee Daniels confessed she was being blackballed, prompting her to ask, "Why have I been blackballed?" Daniels retorted, asserting that the reason was her refusal to comply with the unspoken rules of the industry game. When Monique pressed Daniels for specifics about the game in question, he faltered, leaving the nature of the game to speculation. Implicitly, it seemed like a dictate that all African-American entertainers should revere Oprah without voicing any criticism, lest they face repercussions. Nevertheless, Monique remained undeterred by attempts to silence her. She went on to expose Whoopi Goldberg and Steve Harvey, insinuating their subservience to Oprah. During her appearance on The View, Monique revealed fulfilling contractual obligations for Precious, only to be later coerced by Oprah and Tyler to undertake additional unpaid work.
I did all of my contractual obligations and I was done. Then when I started getting calls from Lee Daniels, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Lionsgate, and they wanted me to come work for free. They wanted to go over to Cannes and promote this film internationally. And I said to them, I said, guys, my deal is with Lee Daniels, and I've done my job. And they all agreed. And this is what happens, in my humble opinion, when you don't go up to the hotel room. See, when I think about those women that
Wait,
said,
I'm gonna stop you.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop you.
Okay.
Because contractually,
Yes.
when you make a movie, regardless of who you sign the deal with,
Yes.
your job is to go and promote said movie.
Whoopi, adopting a condescending tone, insisted that Monique should have undertaken an overseas tour, deeming it part of her professional responsibilities. Monique countered, emphasizing that if it were indeed a contractual obligation, the studio would have pursued legal action for breach of contract. Monique maintained she fulfilled her paid duties, challenging Whoopi's attempt to school her on her job.
And I said, if you had called me, I could have schooled you on what was expected.
And when we did have that conversation, and what I said to you, my sweet sister, I said, Whoopi, at what point do we stop saying the next time? Because what was expected, but I want to answer it though.
Yeah.
The term school didn't sit well with Monique, leading her to later refer to Whoopi as the help in an interview with Vulture. Monique clarified that this was a reflection of Whoopi attempting to shame her on national television for simply seeking compensation for her work. Despite media and peer criticism, Monique refused to apologize, standing firm in her stance.
When I have a woman that says to me on national TV, I could have schooled you. Well, you wanted to school me on how I was supposed to work for free. I simply don't want that type of education. That's the education you're fine with. That's not the education I want, and that's not the education I want to pass down to my little sisters, saying, you just gotta do it. Let me school you. If they're not paying you, baby, that's called slavery.
It wasn't only Whoopi attempting to gaslight Monique. Steve Harvey also joined the ranks. Initially supporting Monique privately, Steve later publicly criticized her, accusing her of burning bridges. Monique, unyielding, publicly called out Steve for betraying her, akin to how he allegedly betrayed Bernie Mac in the past. Steve, attempting to control the narrative on his show, sought to school Monique on success in the industry, emphasizing the necessity of playing nice to secure success. Monique, resolute, asserted that she wouldn't compromise her principles for a hefty paycheck.
We got labeled as difficult because I said one word, and that was no. Now, I said no to some very powerful people. I said no to Oprah Winfrey. I said no to Tyler Perry. I said no to Lee Daniels. And I said no to Lionsgate. And when I heard you go on the air and you said, my sister done burned too many bridges, and there's nothing I can do for her now. Steve, do you know how hurt I was? What I would have appreciated from my brother was had you picked up the phone before you went on the air and said, Monique, you've burned too many bridges and there's nothing I can do. See, I would have appreciated had my brother called me up and said, baby, let's talk. Because you doing that was a part of me being difficult.
But not before that, though.
Yes, baby.
Recently, Taraji P. Henson revealed contemplating walking away from Oprah's project due to pay disparity. Fans argue that Monique, who faced backlash for similar reasons years ago, deserves a sincere apology.
And what happens is when you allow people to start taking your freedom and your gift and making it become what makes them comfortable, we then lose. When you called me with the morning show on the phone, I said to you, Steve, my family is suffering behind this. And y'all know I did nothing wrong. Y'all know my husband did nothing wrong. But none of y'all in real time, was strong enough to go publicly and say, we can't throw our sister under the bus.
Repercussions of the truth. We black out here. We can't come out here and do it any kind of way we want to. Listen to me. Your husband can't be the Sydney that he really is out here.
Let me tell you
They're not fit that flexing. We gotta flex a different way. We out here in a game. This the money game. This ain't the black man's game. This ain't the white man's game. This the money game.
Moreover, Monique's defiance garnered praise from her supporters, who applauded her for standing up against industry norms. As the controversy unfolded, comparisons were drawn between Monique's experience and the recent revelations by Taraji P. Henson about pay disparities for black actresses. Many fans argue that Monique, being an early advocate for fair compensation, deserves recognition and vindication. The discussion also delved into Steve Harvey's track record of allegedly undermining colleagues, as highlighted by Bernie Mac's past accusations. This further fueled the sentiment that Monique's critique of Steve's actions was rooted in a pattern of behavior rather than an isolated incident. In the midst of these revelations, questions lingered about accountability within the industry. Fans contemplated whether an apology from Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry would be a necessary step towards acknowledging and rectifying the systemic issues raised by Monique. The dynamics of power, race, and gender within the entertainment industry were brought into sharp focus, prompting a broader conversation on equality and fairness. As the controversy continued to unfold, it became evident that Monique's stand transcended personal grievances, evolving into a symbol of resistance against systemic injustices. The enduring relevance of this narrative, echoed by Taraji Henson's recent revelations, affirmed the need for continued dialogue and action to address disparities within the entertainment industry. Feel free to share your insights on these developments and whether you believe industry leaders should address the systemic issues raised by Monique. Your comments are valuable in fostering a meaningful discussion on these important issues. And now, be sure to watch the next video for more insights. Share your thoughts on Whoopi and Steve attempting to school Monique. Do you believe Monique deserves an apology from Oprah and Tyler Perry? Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.